Excellent, excellent, Chris. I'd like to point out, too, that a lot of what's going on in the de facto realms, they like to suck everything that they can, even criminal prosecutions. They like to entangle them with what is known as civil procedure, but and that gives wiggle room for smoke and mirrors and confusion to come in, because that's the nature of the civil municipal Roman Empire model of government, is to confuse the slaves so that they're more easily governable under Roman Empire municipal civil law. But we've got citations. See, there's a conflict of laws going on here. And in America, when we established a civil government within the parameters that are laid out in the Constitution in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th Amendment, that caused a merger of common law jurisdiction with civil municipal Roman Empire law jurisdiction. And the case law related to these issues, I've got textbooks that say that the rules of civil procedure prioritize due process of law. And the center ingredient to due process of law is the right to a jury trial with a unanimous 12-person jury deciding everything. Beacon Theaters versus Westover talks about the so-called merger of law and equity, and that so-called merger of law and equity is basically civil process, that prioritizes common law due process over and above equity civil municipal jurisdiction. And Beacon Theaters versus Westover, U.S. Supreme Court case about in the 40s or the 50s, that clearly established the principle under the merger of law and equity that if anybody, plaintiff or defendant, is demanding a trial by jury in their paperwork before the court, then the court has a duty to prioritize all of the issues at law until the jury has rendered the unanimous verdict, and then the judge can bring in equity, admiralty, maritime, any other jurisdiction. It's kind of like the janitor sweeping up the crumbs, because due process of law with the rights of trial by jury are the essence, are the apex of the pyramid of how civil procedure is supposed to function within the parameters, properly interpreted, of our U.S. Constitution document. This is in Beacon Theaters versus Westover, U.S. Supreme Court case. It's a textbook case. So when you comprehend the due process of common law is the priority even under the de facto system, then we comprehend even more powerfully how we do have the moral high ground, we do have the lawful legal high ground, and anybody that's messing with our rights to due process of common law is involved in a treasonous conspiracy, or they need to back off and humble themselves and repent of their evil ways, or be treated as an enemy of the state, which is essentially involved in treason. And that's pretty much where we're at. And like Chris and David's cases are pointing out, we're surrounded by people that are conspiring to commit treason like that. And we're hoping to address those issues real soon. I yield. Go ahead, Chris.
You've cited that Supreme Court case twice, and something's happening on the first name that you articulate. The Westover is pretty clear, but the first name has not come up where I could discern what you were saying. Could you expound on that?
Beacon Theaters versus Westover.
Beacon Theaters, B-E-A-C-O-N?
Correct.
Very good. Thank you for clearing that up.
Very good. I think we have pretty much flushed out the powerful undercurrents involved in your case. Can we continue on and jump back to Lewis here a little bit, Chris?
One other contributory observation that I've made in my situation here, the one they've created for me particularly, is I can guarantee you that they are using let's call them virtual trial juries, where they're doing audio analysis of your voice before they decide whether to give you a trial by jury or not. And if they find you to be very truthful, believable, and having that character of resonance of truth embodied in the gumption breath of your voice, they will absolutely do everything they can to deprive you of that trial by jury and trusting it to a jury where your voice speaks the truth versus the lies that the opposition is putting forth against you.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, the conspirators are alive and well and active, and this is the nature of our spiritual battle. And thank you, Louis, for bringing up the screen share, pointing out Beacon Theaters versus Westover on Wikipedia. Yes, this is a fundamental case comprehending how due process of law under common law tradition is prioritized under civil procedure. They're supposed to be respecting it, even though the jackbooted Nazi conspirators routinely do everything in their power to obstruct it.